The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
And we welcome you to a Friday edition of the program. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ LaSelva with you as we end the week on our show. I'm glad you were with us with much to talk about here in the world of sports. Mike Fleming stops by from Firewatch. He's going to be here by phone today, and we'll be looking forward to him. He always shares a lot of stuff with us, I think, that's important. Firewatch prevents veteran suicide, and they do a fantastic job. Always good to have Mike around during holidays, military holidays, so he'll be by today for a bit by phone. Pete Prisco checks in at 5 o'clock as well as normal. So a lot of fun stuff coming on the program today. Normally I start with a new drug and some fun stuff. There's only one way to start the show today. I'd be remiss if I didn't. It's a sad day. It's a sad day for me, Hays. It's a sad day for the sports radio community. We lost David Lamb today. There's many stories, and I'll tell as many as I can today in the early part of the show. But this was a gut punch. David was a big part, man. This one hit me hard today. David and I traveled together, roomed together, kind of grew up in sports radio together. Jay Solomon started it. Joe Cowart was so kind at the end of his show today, and I've talked to Joe, and I thanked him for that. To mention Jay, David, and me as the pioneers, which was a very kind comment. The reality, though, was Jay was the pioneer and David was the pioneer, and I got to tag along, and that's the real reality of it. And being able to tag along was one of the great honors of my life, and it changed my life professionally and personally, and so it's a really sad day for me. David Lamb gone today, gone too soon, but we will remember David in so many ways. Really one of the pioneers. I think Jay Solomon was the pioneer, but David was right with him, of sports radio in Jacksonville, starting in the late 80s and early 90s when we all got to do it together. And I'll miss David Lamb. This one hit me very hard today, and David gone today, someone we respected very much.
Yeah, he was an absolute legend. I mean, growing up in Jacksonville, I remember watching his show as a kid. I remember listening to him on the radio, as a child. And the thing that made him so unique is he had opinions that the adults around me wouldn't necessarily agree with, but they always listened. Right. And that was the first time I think I'd experienced that just because you're saying something that a person may not agree with as a broadcaster, that doesn't mean that they're going to stop listening to you necessarily. In fact, in some ways it may make them more loyal to you as a listener. And obviously David Lamb had an incredible audience throughout his illustrious career here. And I obviously didn't get to know David as well as you, but certainly in my interactions with him, he was always very kind and gracious, and occasionally when I worked at the TU would send me nice emails about something that he read that he enjoyed. So a fantastic individual, very charitable person. He's brightened the Christmases of a lot of youths in the Jacksonville area for decades. Mark Woods wrote a tremendous story just this past Christmas about his charitable work, and so it's a tremendous loss. It's an absolutely great loss, and I certainly offer you my condolences as somebody that was very close to him.
Yeah, Santa Lamb was real important to David. Santa Lamb was really important today, and I didn't see David as much in the latter years when he was no longer here, but he was always doing commentaries here. And I just told Steve Griffin this a minute ago, our GM. Steve was loyal to David to the end. You can do commentaries for us as long, and I told Steve how much I appreciated that, and I think Jacksonville appreciates that. I do. Yeah. So, and we were proud of that. So, someone told me today, so you can tell David Lamb stories. I said I could go to midnight. They don't let us go to midnight. We get to 6 and they make us stop. That's kind of how the show works. But I could go to midnight. I've roomed with David in Tallahassee, Atlanta, Birmingham, Gainesville, and Auburn. It actually was Phoenix City, Alabama, near Auburn. So I've roomed with him in 5 different places. We've traveled together, flown together. We've traveled to Denver, Buffalo, and New England together during that run in '96. We've traveled to Gator Championship games together in New Orleans, and we traveled an awful lot. When I first met David Hays, it was I had graduated from high school and wanted to be a sports writer. And Gene Pullen, God rest his soul, from the Journal, had hired me to work for the Jacksonville Journal, and a couple years later they hired David Lamb at the Times Union, and so I met David then, and by the time I got to college in '78, I went to junior college for 2 years. One of David's favorite stories to tell about me, I was a stringer, so you'd cover the team, but you'd also cover high school on Friday nights. You'd cover Gainesville high schools, and you'd cover Dunellen and Chiefland and all the area schools around there. And I can still remember, and David was the boss. He was a sports editor, so he would make the assignments. And I'd have to cover the Gainesville East Side versus Dunellen game, or Hawthorne versus Chiefland, all those games. And I called but also I was a college student living away from home for the first time. It's Friday night. Now you're 19, you're a junior in college. You've never lived away from home. It's Friday night in Gainesville. So one time I said, David, I can't. I lost my grandfather. Okay, I got a funeral. And about not realizing it, maybe a couple of months later, I said, David, my grandfather died.
Oh,
and
you went to the well twice.
Yeah, well, actually, is David used to love to tell the story. When I went to the well the third time, no telling what I was on when I made that call.
Yeah.
David goes, Frank, no problem. I understand. Family comes first. And by the way, how many damn grandfathers do you have? True story. David, till the end, used to love to tell that story. So, but he hired me, and then we kind of started in radio together almost.
What year would that have been when David started in radio? Did he do TV before radio?
He did. With TV, he did just a little bit of full-time TV, but mostly did on cable. He did the David Lamb at Large show.
Right.
Remember Blabbermouth?
With Blabbermouth.
Blabbermouth was fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was really good, and he the Blabbermouth would have been mid-'80s.
Okay.
And when he was still at the Times Union, maybe just had left the Times Union, and then he did country radio. I want to get this right. I'll get the resume wrong a little bit, but he did country radio with Robbie Rose before we started 930. And then in 1988, sports radio came around. 1987, sports radio came around. The Fan came around, and I got hired to do sports radio. Dave was still doing country radio, but doing sports updates on the country station on Rooster, I think it was. And I got hired at it was the QIK before they were together, the J-Core station. It became WJXR, but whatever it's called at the time, to do sports radio in 1988. And and then left there when they kind of shut down their sports radio stuff and went to work with Jay in 1989. That's about the time David was transitioning from being on country radio to doing all sports. And then in 1991, I've told this story many times, in 1991, 930, which was a Clear Channel, it's iHeart now, but it was called Clear Channel at the time, started what was then the 9th all-sports radio station in the country. There were only 9. We were the 9th one in December of 1991, and we were all on the station. And I was still working at the Times Union, but working 3-4 nights a week with Jay Solomon. And then a year and a half later, I left to go to work full-time in radio, and by then we were all doing it. David did mornings forever. David and Joe Coward did mornings together forever. I talked to Joe a little bit today, and it was certainly a sad day for him. Mm-hmm. But that, to your question, David, when the David and Blabbermouth Lamb would have been mid-'80s. Mm-hmm. David went into radio and country late '80s, and then was on 930 as the morning show host of the talk show, Lamb at Large in the morning, and is the early '90s, and did it forever. Did it for I want to say probably was on. He probably did Lamb at Large from ’91 through
2011.
No, before that, it would have been. No, it would have been closer to that, wouldn't it? Yeah, you're probably right. Because we had started 1010 in '07. Yeah, probably about 20 years. Probably about 20 years did that show. And again, did it with his son Alex for a while. Did it with Tommy Charles for a while. And did it with Joe Cowart probably for longer than anything. They did the mornings together. So, David was cantankerous, could be angry, could be happy. He was smart, really smart guy. He knew sports. He knew the angle. He knew what would get under people's skin. But he was honest. He was passionate. He was very authentic. You're going to see that word a lot today describing David Lamb. He was very authentic, Hays. He believed what he said. He didn't care who didn't like it. He didn't care because he believed what he said, and he came from the hills of North Carolina, as he liked to call it, Rocky Mount. Was it Rocky Mount? Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And so David was very authentic. So this is a sad day. This is David Lamb being gone is a sad day. And he had not been in good health of late, but there were so many stories there were so many fun stories. Had great sources, by the way. Before sources were a thing, David Lamb had great sources. He was very close to Steve Spurrier. I want to say, I may be wrong about this, But I want to say David, Steve Spurrier, you can Google it, obviously. David, Steve Spurrier, and Tom Coughlin are all around the same age. I think that I know I'm close on that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not the exact same age, I know I'm close on that. But David Lamb was an institution here, very authentic. And let me say this, as clearly as I can say it. There's no sports radio in Jacksonville today the way it is without David Lamb. We're not here without David. We're not here without Jay Solomon. Jay Solomon was the pioneer. He was the father of it. We all learned so much from Jay. David learned a lot about opinions and using them. I learned a lot about selling to clients and how do you sell in program and how do you to this day, 37 years later, I'm still, as you are and many of us are, we have clients and we have relationships with clients and we sell advertising and then we prepare a show and do a show. I think that model is one of the radio stations around the country that work. It's a very good model. So learned a lot from them. Really miss David Lamb. I just there's a you've seen the plaque in that thing in my office, the story that Times Union did, and it was Jay Solomon, Greg Larson, David Lamb, and me. It's the first time there were 4 different sports radio shows in Jacksonville, and it was kind of the beginning. The Talk of the Town, I think Bob McClellan wrote it. Remember Bob?
Oh yeah. From
the Times Union, and it was called Talk of the Town, and I was 34 at the time, and Jay and David and Greg were older than me, obviously, and I'm the last one left. So it hits me hard. It hits everyone hard, but probably hits me harder than the rest because I worked close with him, worked with him for a long time, and we'll really miss David Lamb.
Well, and having all those memories. I mean, when did you guys start traveling on the road? Would that have been like late 80s?
Probably.
Like that would have been like college football before the Jaguars were here?
Yes. Well, the first time we traveled on the road, we would go to Tallahassee and Gainesville and do live shows from those games, even when I was at the Times Union. The first trip I remember, I want to say 1989, we were the first radio station to do live shows from the SEC Media Days. It was at the Winfrey Hotel. We were at Casey's, one of my favorite stories, and we were the first station to do it. Jay Solomon, David Lamb, me, we're all 3 doing this show together in 1989, and people wondered, what are they doing? They got a banner. Is that a radio? Or do they work for a radio station? And they all have headsets on. Are they playing music? What are they doing? I still remember that, and I can still remember Curly Hallman was the LSU coach. It was 89 or 90. Might have been our first year. The second year, by the way, Jocks from Birmingham went, and there were 2 radio stations there. And there were about 2 or 3 years we were the only 2, and then Atlanta started coming, and they all started coming Hays after that. But I can still remember. You probably never went to the Winfrey, where the sports bar, the legendary sports bar Casey's. You probably were always, if you went, you was at Hoover, right?
Yes.
But it used to be downtown at the Winfrey and then the Sheridan downtown. Anyway, the Winfrey Hotel down. No, I take it back. The Winfrey's in Hoover. My bad.
Right.
The Sheridan was downtown. It all runs together. The Sheridan downtown, and they had a sports bar called Casey's. And we do the show there one night, and then the coaches are all coming in. And late the one night, he was on the next morning, was Curly Hallman from LSU. And Curly knew David because everybody knew David. David knew everybody. Well, they get talking. And our show ends. Jay's show was on 4 to 7, and I was the co-host. And the show ends, and again, I'm going to go out, like out. So I go home. So David and Curly Hallman walk over, and they're going to eat dinner right there at the sports bar. Probably it was 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central. So it was maybe 6:15, 6:30. They go sit down. Okay, guys, I'll see you. I go to my room, shower, meet some of my buddies, Bianchi and Dooley and Chris Harry, all my running buddies. We go out, probably go to dinner at 7:30, 8. Probably find a little pub about 8:30, 9:30. I remember we got back in at about 11 Central, 12 Eastern, 11 Central. Took a cab, thank goodness. Okay. Stumbled back in, and I said, back in those days, you probably got to go to the hotel bar and have one more. You got to have a nightcap. I mean,
right.
why ruin a good night
Yeah.
by coming in early? Went down there, and there's David Lamb and Curly Hallman, never left, sitting out on the curb outside because they had shut the bar. And I mean, they were both deep into the night. God bless their soul. And I said, that's how you get these sources, okay? You start buying them cocktail. I will never forget David Lamb and Curly Hallman sitting on a mall curb inside the mall, but like a little curb outside because they shut that down. I've told that story so many times.
That's hilarious. It was the golden era of covering sports, and he was a big part of that. And he was just, so funny. To have that alter ego of Blabbermouth, and it just played so well on TV, as a kid watching it. And it was, again, obviously it sparked something in me. It's what I ended up doing for my career. And I think that he's just done it at such a magnificent level. And, it's an impact that can never really be duplicated because of what you're talking about. Once the foundation is laid, everything else is just sort of it's nice, but it's the people that laid the foundation of something that really stand out.
Yeah, and he was again. He said what he thought. He said what he believed. I think my favorite trips with David were the early Jaguar years. I can remember when in '96 they had a team in '95, and Terry Norvell and I went to the game in Canton and went live from there. David didn't go. We took turns traveling to some of the games. Then in '96, the Morton miss, the world changed. Morton Anderson misses, the Jaguars in the playoffs. Nobody could believe it. Remember that's the same year the Gators won the championship too. Okay? That all happened the same year. So when the Jaguars went to the playoff, we had a sales guy, Mike. I don't remember his last name. We had a sales guy that sold a charter trip to Buffalo, a plane charter trip. So like 60, 70 Jags fans bought it. So part of it was we were the spokes, so we got to go free, Lamb and I. So Lamb and I and about maybe 75 Jags fans on this charter plane go up to Buffalo. We stay in this hotel together. It has this big conference room. So we do a live show for 3 hours, game day, before the game, like that morning, with just that Lamb and I doing the show in front of 75 fans. You have a built-in audience. Went to the game, beat Buffalo. Well, now you got to do it again, right? Right. We fly, all fly together to Denver. We're going to lose that one. Okay, we've won one. Let's go. What the heck? It'll be the last time we do it. We go to Denver. Lamb and I do a show in front of all these fans. Win again. So, we could have gone. We would have chartered to the Super Bowl, too, just so you know that. We get this charter plane. We fly up there together. Lamb and I do this show. And the Jags lose to the Patriots. I think that might have been, of all that we took way more college trips. But probably of the pro trips, that's probably the one that stands out the most, that Jaguar run in 1996.
I was speaking to the St. Augustine Sports Club a couple years ago, and Judge John Alexander does such a fantastic job with that group. And so, I get there, and we're sitting and catching up and everything, and he asked me about David Lamb, and, how's he doing, and and so I let him know, that how he was doing, and he starts telling he can't even get the story out. He's laughing so hard. But he starts telling me this story about Lamb in like the 80s or 90s on radio was doing Lamb at Large. And he had said something, and Judge couldn't really remember exactly what it was. But a guy called in and was furious with David Lamb about his opinion. To the point where the caller ends up saying, well, I'm coming up to the radio station, and I want you to come outside. And David says, all right, well, on your way, stop by at Hardee's and pick me up with some biscuits.
That's
anyway.
Perfect Lamb. That is perfect Lamb. That was like, he didn't care, and he really didn't. So that's a great story.
Yeah.
That is. And you talked about Blabbermouth. People wonder what are they talking about. So David did the Lamb at Large television, a half-an-hour show, and it was on back then Continental Cable. It was good. He always had 2 or 3 shooters with him. He'd go to Gainesville and interview whoever the coach was in Gainesville. He'd go to interview Bowden at FSU. I think this is before Spurrier, well before. This was Galen Hall, Charlie Pell. He'd do story. He'd do the Players Championship. But then one segment of show, he would say, all right, I'm going to take a break. When we come back, that brother of mine, Blabbermouth, he's got a lot to say. I never trust him, but he'll be here after this to go to commercial. And then he'd come back, and Lamb had the goatee painted on. He'd have a goatee painted on his face and a hat turned around backwards, and that was not David Lamb, it was Blabbermouth Lamb. And he would give more good stuff, wouldn't he? Yeah. I hear that Jimmy Dunn's going to be fired as the offensive coordinator next week, and don't be surprised. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was great stuff.
Yeah.
And And so we lived for Blabbermouth. Blabbermouth was the greatest, and he also wrote a great notes column. Greg Larson did as well. So David Lamb, gone today, gone too soon. But again, I'll say it again, and I could tell these stories forever about David Lamb. He was funny. Everybody knew lamb chops. Spurrier would always say, "How's lamb chops? How's lamb chops? You taught lamb chops anymore? How's lamb chops?" So so everybody knew him. So David was there weren't many like David Lamb. I can certainly tell you that. So we're so sorry to see David gone, and I mean that very, very sincerely. All right. Other things we'll talk about today on the program. Mike Fleming joins us in just a bit. Ooh, the Celtics, JJ. No problem. You called it, didn't you? That was their chance, game one, wasn't it?
The Pacers, yeah. This especially now Halliburton looks like he's hurt. So Eastern Conference Finals, we don't have to watch that one anymore. It's fine.
And you said it. You said that was the time. Yeah, hey, Halliburton 10 points. By the way, and again, it's perfect when guys that don't watch all year come along and then give you their opinion, act like they know what they're talking about. So I'll be that guy for a second because I really don't. And I've known that Jason Tatum, JJ's gotten all the attention, but Jaylen Brown has become a really good player. Went for 40 last night.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems to pick it up every time Jason Tatum's lacking. Like they do that with each other. It's rare you see them both play really well at the same time. They're going to need that come the finals. But yeah, Jaylen Brown didn't make the All-NBA team this year, and maybe he was upset about that. I think it just came out. So yeah, he's been playing really good down the stretch, and we'll see in the finals. I still think they need Kristaps back to really compete with the teams in the West. We'll see.
Yeah, you said that from day one, and I'll trust your judgment on it. I think so too. They clearly, and you also said they wouldn't need him for this, and it looks like they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
It seems like the Pacers to me, they get everything out of the talent that they have, but they just don't have the Jimmys and Joes.
For man, they don't even get close.
Yeah, they're trying and their efforts there. It looked like they were going to get blown out early in the game. Boston went on, I think it was a 20-0 run at that point, and then Indiana able to claw back in. So they're really tough, and I think they're maximizing what they have.
Just to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, they've played out of their shoes. They're at the 6th seed.
Yeah, but they seem overmatched here. Yeah.
Hey, before we break, we do have a winner. Round 3.
Oh, okay.
Round 3, Hotel California, as expected. Chalk held there.
Yeah.
Hotel California, 40% of the vote. Dream On, 26%. Bob O'Reilly, 22%. Born to Run took a beating, 12%. So it's now 3 of the 4 seeds are set. 3 of the 4 spots in the Final Four are set. Stairway to Heaven, Bohemian Rhapsody, Hotel California, as we try to find the best anthem of the rock era. Ooh, the Final Four is going to be good.
Yes.
I hope Jim Nance is still doing this one because he deserves this.
Absolutely.
And I'm a big Iron Eagle fan too, by the way, but this will be so we have 4 more. We're not going to play one today. JJ and I talked. We got 4 days next week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we're going to start next week. 4 pretty good anthems. Let me just tell you, you think they're all gone? 4 pretty good anthems left. There's 4 pretty good anthems. So one more vote for 4. We'll play one a day starting next week. And then we'll have a particularly good Final Four. That'll be good stuff. Let's take a break. When we come back, my friend Mike Fleming will join Hays and me. He's from Firewatch. They do so much good stuff in the community, really helping veterans, helping prevent veteran suicide, which matters. I promise you it does. Mike Fleming's after this on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
There's a certain romance to radio play-by-play.
We need you to be all strong and hot.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Now, any good lineup needs power. When I needed a power connection for our new Walk-Off Charities baseball park, I found the perfect partner in Ricketts Electric. You're going to love these guys, I'm telling you. The Ricketts family has been providing commercial and residential electric service for years. So call my buddy Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960, and you can find them on Facebook as well. You will trust them. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them today at 320-5960.
This is Hays Carlyon for QC Kinetics. Look, the state of healthcare, it's always changing, and old ideas like steroids and surgery, they're no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Whether you have knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, Don't let that pain keep you from living your best life this summer. The weather's getting so nice. You need to call 904-274-5522 for a free consultation. They can get you in. They have availabilities, 2 great locations, one in Mandarin, one in Ponte Vedra. Again, 274-5522. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body, powerful healing agents that are highly concentrated. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. Stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics at 904-274-5522 and go see them for a free consultation in Mandarin or in Ponte Vedra. That's QC Kinetics.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold & Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold & Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Come in, Linda. Over.
We've got a sea of new vehicles and they're priced so low they're rocking the boat. Come check out our biggest selection of inventory with the best prices and our wow ya experience that will ensure smooth sailing for your next car purchase. Plus, take advantage of our peace of mind warranties, transparent pricing, and free oil changes with every purchase. You better beat the surge and head to Beaver Toyota St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville for the best car buying experience.
Hays Memorial Day with Mayport CNC Fisheries Steamer Pots. This week, take $10 off our unique steamer cans filled with restaurant-quality seafood. Family gathering or special occasion, Mayport CNC Fisheries off Mayport Road brings the taste of the ocean to your table. Ask your favorite restaurant to carry Mayport CNC Fisheries.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Mia O'Brien
is going to be the first woman president of the United States of America.
Catch me weekdays from noon to 2 on Helmets and Heels.
And she could run later this year even, and I would vote for her.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota on 1010XL.
Hey poker players, the Poker Atlas Tour is coming to Best Bet St. Augustine June 6th to 16th. The Poker Atlas Tour features 7 events, including the $600 No Limit Hold'em title event with a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool and Event 1 $300 No Limit Hold'em with a $100,000 guarantee. Satellites start May 26th. For more details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Are you having constant issues with drains backing up? Have you wasted money on plumbers that can't resolve your problems? We're Duck Duck Rooter, and we have the solution. We'll come out to your home or business, identify your problem, and make the repairs once and for all. From visual camera inspections, hydrojetting, line replacements, our team of pros will get the job done right. Call now to schedule service and relax. 904-862-6769. Financing is available. DuckDuckRooter.com, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Get grilling this Memorial Day weekend with Southern Steer. Buy a combo pack and snag 1 pound of ground beef and 1 pound of sausage for free. Specials listed online run this week from Wednesday to Monday.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
International soccer returns this summer. Don't miss your chance to see teams from the biggest league in the world in Jacksonville as they compete for the Stateside Cup. Be there when Premier League clubs Wolves and West Ham take the pitch July 27th at Everbank Stadium, home of the Jaguars. With the series trophy on the line, competition will be fierce. Tickets on sale now for as low as $35 at StatesideCup.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
That's our winner. Hotel California. What 3 entries into the Final Four of the best anthem ever of the rock era. It'll be fun kind of seeing who's going to join them. Comes up in a bit. JJ, fire it up.
Time now for the Voice of the Day. Presented by South State Bank. Welcome to Banking Forward.
And our guest today, my friend Mike Fleming from Firewatch, joins us often near a holiday of sorts, a military-based holiday, an American holiday. Memorial Day certainly qualifies. So he joins us now to talk about things going on at Firewatch. Mike, how are you? Mike, you're in a little bit of a bad zone. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think Mike's got Mike's got a little bit of bad connection, it sounds like. So we will try and connect with Mike when he gets a little closer to it. So Firewatch does really good stuff, though. Firewatch is a for people that don't know, Mike is a brigadier general, retired, has done so much in the military for so many years. And his current initiative, Hays, is working for Firewatch, which has one initiative, and that is to prevent veteran suicides. The lives that veterans have lived, the aftermath of what they went through sometimes is more difficult to navigate than their tours. And Mike's among those that really helped them. So it'll be good to have Mike on to talk about some of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, just talking about the job fairs that Mike's been involved with as well. And obviously they have the big one for the Players Championship, and it's always great catching up with them. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to have them on here in a minute or so.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up later on the program. I'm going to talk about in between bloods. There's blue bloods, there's new bloods, there's no bloods. There's in-between bloods. I want to kind of get to that. That's coming up a little bit later on in the program. We've got some fun stuff to do as we get closer and closer to training camp. I heard Lauren Brooks say today on Helmets and Heels that today's May 24th, which means I credit to Lauren for bringing this up, 3 months from the Noles and the Yellow Jackets in Dublin. Do you realize that? 3 months today,
yeah,
Carlyon.
It's getting close.
3 months.
Getting close. Can't wait. Looking forward to that one. I agree. I think that one's going to be a good – with 8 minutes left in that game.
I got your attention on that one, didn't I?
Yeah, I do think with eight minutes left in that game, it's still a game.
Yeah,
and then I think FSU probably scores a couple to put it away.
Yeah, we talked about this, and we'll talk about it closer to the game. But we talked about this a week or two ago. Georgia Tech returns Haynes King, their quarterback, Haynes, their running back. They won 4 of their last 6. The 2 losses were Clemson and Georgia. They actually were they beat UCF kind of handily in a bowl game. They actually were a pretty good team by the end of the season, and so we'll see what happens. All right, let's try again now. I think we now have Mike with a little better connection. Mike Fleming, my friend from Firewatch. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, Frank. Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you fine. Thank you.
Sorry.
These generals make a quick adjustment, Hayes.
They do.
Okay, not much. Something goes wrong in the military, it gets fixed quickly. Okay.
That's right.
So well done, Mike. Great to hear from you, Mike. How are you? How are things with Firewatch?
We're doing great, Frank. We're, as we've talked about at firewatch.org, one of the big things we do is try to engage the public. We call it engage the 90%. The 90% have never served in the military but really want to do something. And so we're approaching 7,000 watchstanders, which means that almost 7,000 people across Florida have taken about an hour's worth of training to learn about the military and be there for their military friends.
Mike, it's great talking with you as always. How does somebody become a watchstander?
Hey, it's very easy. Go to thefirewatch.org, and you will go on there, and it just says watchstanders. You click on that, and it's real great. You learn a little bit about the military through 15 things veterans want you to know. Psych Armor is our partner. And then there's something on about 25 minutes of something the VA puts out. It talks about veterans and the suicide challenge. And you know, you often hear, well, we don't really talk about suicide because it might cause suicide. And that's absolutely 100% wrong, because when we don't talk about it, that's when we have trouble. We need to confront the challenge that we have. And then we want people to surround our veterans with a sea of goodwill and a sea of understanding. So if someone sees a problem, they'll get that veteran to resources.
Mike, have we seen you've been doing this on air with us for a long time, and obviously doing it well before you started coming on with us. Are you seeing progress? Are you seeing progress? Not just Firewatch, but so many initiatives that care about veterans in the aftermath of their tours. Are you seeing progress?
Fortunately, Frank, we are. One of the things that we did, Firewatch was started in 2019, fall of 2019, and then we use that as our baseline year. And in each of the years, 2020, 2021, and 2022, we've seen significant decreases across the board here in Northeast Florida that beat the national average. I hate to say beat the average because there's one suicide's too many. But when we look at the statistics, we can see we're making a difference. And the great thing is that the Firewatch, in a lot of ways, is a connector because we want our Firewatch standers to understand where the resources are. We have the City of Jacksonville's tremendous, Wounded Warrior Project, Canines for Warriors, Operation the Uniform, 5-Star Veterans Center. All of them have a role. And, of course, the Cohen Veterans Network Clinic in Jacksonville has been instrumental in this. So we're connecting our veterans to the resources they need so they can have the lives that they deserve.
Mike, tell us about the Veteran Safe Place program.
Yeah, that's great. Hays, what we do with the Veteran Safe Place program, we want businesses to sign up, and if they have either 50% of their employees or at least 10 of their employees go through the program, we designate that organization a Veteran Safe Place. And what that means, once you put a sticker on the door, and veterans recognize that you've taken the time to learn about their challenges and that you're there to support. If they ever needed something, they could go in and a Veteran Safe Place could direct you to resources.
Mike, let me ask you this. I've asked you this on the air before. You've had a distinguished career as a general. I mean that for seriously, 36 years. You're in the Hall of Fame for such. You could walk away from this. This is still I say a passion of yours. That's the wrong word, but it's still an important initiative for you. I think important is a better word. Why are you so motivated to help veterans?
Frank, I think what we learn in the military is that you don't get anywhere by yourself. And so many, many, many people have invested in me in the military. And when I started off many years ago as a scared private at Parris Island, someone told me I was going to be a general. Some years later, I would have laughed. Because I never would have thought that as a goal, but people invested in me. And so I feel like because people invested in me, I have the opportunity for a forum, and you guys are great to be one of the great forums. I really feel like I owe it to the people who invested in me to continue giving back.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. And you've done such a great job as well with the job fairs. Is there anything like that coming up that veterans looking for work can pay attention to?
Yeah, Hays, we have a number of job fairs that we have. Very, very successful one with the TPC, and then various job fairs. And one of the things I would recommend if a veteran really wants to get connected around town is you can contact the City of Jacksonville Military Department, and they have a great distribution list, and they send out newsletters and information about a lot of veterans resources, job fairs, and everything. So that's one way that veterans can get connected in town in Jacksonville to a lot of great things that are happening in the veteran community.
You know, this city cares about its military, doesn't it, Mike? That's a big part of all this too, isn't it?
Absolutely, Frank. Just like you and Hays, I was born and raised here in Jacksonville, and my dad was a sailor at Mayport, met my mom, and stayed here. And, I'm very proud of us with the connections that we have because, everybody does what they do well. And, the Cohen Veterans Network does great mental health. Wounded Warrior Project does something. Canines for Warriors. Everybody's got a role, and we all recognize we need each other. And that's really what the foundation of the military is. You're not in this alone. You're part of a bigger team. And fortunately, we have a great team, not only the veterans organizations, but the City of Jacksonville, Northeast Florida, all the counties are committed to serving our military community.
Mike Fleming from Firewatch. Once again, the website is thefirewatch.org. You can learn all about it, and you can help someone who's been in the military very easily. Mike's going to join us again closer to the 4th of July with some fun stuff we've got coming up. But, Mike, thank you for spending the time, man. Good luck with it. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Frank and Hays. Really appreciate it.
All right, Mike Fleming, Brigadier General Mike Fleming, 36 years in the military. And, the military cares about each other, Hays. I mean, that you talk about having each other's six, as they say in the military. They do, man. It's real. It's very real. And Mike's one of my favorite guys. Mike, I'm very close friends and played a lot of sports with one of Mike's brothers. And that's how I got to know Mike, and he does a fantastic job. He really does. Mike's brother, Kenny, and I are good buddies, and we've played a lot of sports over the years together and gotten to know Mike, and he does a wonderful job. Let's take a break. Hayes' headlines are next. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Professional, steadfast, deep thinkers.
Do not touch it. Don't touch me. Do not touch it. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Mornings on the drill.
It takes two opposing forces to cause friction. And you're just doing your job.
On 1010XL.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon. The NBA playoffs are heating up, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide. Cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays. And new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sportsbook. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using 1010XL as a promo code when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Imagine driving a late model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, Dan. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course,
oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Folks, the First Coast has voted. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is proud to be chosen as Bold City's best in 4 categories: Best Orthopedic Practice, Physical Therapy, Pain Management, and Foot Care Clinic. For the last 30 years, JOI has continually strived for the highest level of orthopedic surgery and rehab care. As the needs of the community evolve, so will they. That's why coaches, parents, and athletes choose JOI. Call them at JOI 2000 or visit JOI.net. JOI, where the pros go.
Smooth sailing and a smooth taste of Vida de Luis, an all-natural tequila made with volcanic spring water and aerated to provide a smoother finish. Go to VidaDeLuis.com and set a course for smooth living today.
Now those sound like some well-oiled machines. Hey, Glenn here from B&B Oil. If you have equipment that needs fuel and only want the best for your engines, we've got you covered. From fuel for boats to construction sites with large equipment, we deliver all types of fuel and lubricants. We also have tanks from 250 gallons to 2,000 gallons and larger if you need them. Give me a call and let's talk. Find us online, bb-oil.com.
Sometimes you agree with him, sometimes you don't.
On the runway, I'm coming in hot.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Spring has sprung. What a great time to get your house ready forever. Stop paying for exterior paint that doesn't protect your home or business. Rhino Shield's beautiful durable coating. Never chip, crack, or peel. By the way, they back it up with a 25-year warranty. No mold, no mildew, no algae. All while saving you thousands compared to the cost of repainting it. Right now, 0% financing, up to 25% off. Never been easier to paint your home with Rhino Shield. Book your free estimate today at rhinoshieldjacks.com.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie, JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thanks to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Give them a call if you need them at 251-1111. You will be in great hands. Hopefully you won't get injured, though. But if you do, or a loved one, that's who you need to call, 251-1111 for Harrell & Harrell. All right, Frank, the Jags OTAs will be back on the field on Tuesday. So the next time we do a show, we will have tons of Jaguar thoughts, but give us a preview. What's something that you're looking forward to seeing on Tuesday?
Yeah, the other time we got to see them all together was seeing them all together. I think now it'll be a lot of fun to see kind of how they line up. Again, we can't always share all that. That's kind of our agreement, but it'll be fun to see it, to see how they line up. Again, some things jumped off the page for me last time. Brenton Strange looks different. The running backs in the running back room, it looks like a very good running back room, the best they've had in a while. Brian Thomas Jr. continues to look different than other receivers. I'm hopeful Gabe Davis will be back, Hayes. He wasn't there last time, so it'll be fun to see someone you didn't see last time wearing number 0. So 16-0 will be a fun connection to watch, among other things.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Pro Football Talks' Mike Florio has an interesting schedule quirk that he has discovered that will help the Jaguars. So this has never happened in the last 5 years, but 10 teams this coming season will play 3 games in a 10-day span. What's interesting about that is how many of them are AFC teams. So the Jets, Seahawks, Saints, Cowboys, Bengals, and Bears play Monday, Sunday, Thursday.
Wow.
But then because of the Christmas games on Wednesday, there's 4 other teams that play basically a Sunday, Saturday, Wednesday, and that is Steelers, Ravens, Chiefs, and Texans. So, again, we talked about it. One of the best perks about this schedule for the Jaguars, no Thursday night games. So, I mean, their shortest week this season is going Monday night in Buffalo to a Sunday game at Houston. Yeah. That is a huge advantage when you see how many of these teams, I mean, again, in the AFC, the Jets, the Bengals, the Steelers, Ravens, Chiefs, and Texans all have a span of 3 games inside of 10 days. That is brutal on the body.
And it's a lot of teams that have to do it. You know, I'm interested in seeing how the Wednesday game, the Christmas game, plays out. Now, look, you pointed it out. The teams that play the Wednesday get to play the Saturday before. So Saturday to Wednesday is no different than Sunday to Thursday. Yet it feels different, doesn't it? Even though it's the same amount of days, it feels different to me. My first question is, how will it affect the team playing on those Wednesdays? The other part of it is, do they get extra rest Does it help them to have the extra rest after the Wednesday game? Because no one's had that yet. So I think pro or con for the Christmas Day teams. It's going to be very interesting to see, I think.
No doubt about it. The NCAA has settled its antitrust cases. Pay for play is here.
Yeah, $20 million. Every team can spend 20. That's the salary cap. Every team can spend 20. Not every school can do that. Far fewer than you think will do it. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Again, to me, the most interesting storyline is how many past players get paid and how much they get paid. The storyline that'll affect college football isn't that, though. It's which schools can afford to pay it. I will still say the story that nobody wants to talk about, it's not even making any of these stories, Hays, is how do people still cheat? Well, there's still you can pay players $20 million. Will you still have rogue booster that buys them a car? That's the question I ask. Now that it's more like a professional sport, because I'll say this, professional sports don't cheat. I mean, you could make. I can still remember Wayne Huizenga tried to pay Dan Marino. Do you remember this in Republic stock? Thinking that he was, that's not salary cap. I'm just giving him some stock to my trash company. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was a big deal. You can't cheat. There's rules and checks and balances in place in professional sports. I'll be very interested to see if people play by the rules once these new rules are in place.
In the NBA, the Celtics go up 2-0 on the Pacers. Is this one over?
Yeah, and JJ called it. JJ called it from the get-go. He said that the Celtics won't need Porzingis. They don't. He said that the Pacers' one chance to steal the series would be to hold on to that first game. They didn't. So, yeah, JJ, I would think this one is probably not going to have much drama.
Yeah, and we don't have to spend our Saturday night watching a useless game. So, there you go, wife Blake.
Very good point.
Absolutely. Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals is tonight at 8:30.
We will be watching that on Friday.
Yes, we will.
Wife Blake had a momentary respite and then back to the grind. Go ahead.
Can the T-Wolves avoid an 0-2 hole?
I think the T-Wolves are going to win the second game. Of course, I also thought they were going to win the first game. I think this one's different, JJ.
I'm with you on this.
The Dallas stole game one. I think Hays were one game apiece after tonight.
I would agree. Did you see this in Major League Baseball last night? The Orioles get a gift from the umpires in a win over the White Sox because of interference that was called.
Might have been as bad a call as you'll ever see. And I understand every time we say that, recency bias jumps in. But it might have been the most incredible ump show I've ever. JJ, did you see it, by the way?
I did. So for the listeners, basically there's a guy on first and second. They're down by 2 in the ninth inning after they'd scored like a ton of runs to get back into the game. And then there's a pop-up to the shortstop, and he barely got touched by the guy who was the runner on second. Like, he did have to move a little bit out of the way, but it was like you see it all the time. Yeah. I've never seen it called before. The ump called it an out on the pop fly and an out by the runner for making contact, so a double play into the game.
Yeah, the pop-up was in the infield. It was so the shortstop it was behind the mound, so the shortstop had to come in to get it. The runner on second base really just retreated to the bag.
Had his back to him.
Had his back to it. All he could do is go back to the bag. They you could barely tell if there was any interference at all. They called interference. They ended the game. Jason Benetti and Steve Stone on the White Sox Network, did you hear them? Mm-hmm. Lost their mind.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely lost their mind, and they were right to do so.
No doubt about it. Braves at Pirates. What are we going to see this weekend?
Okay, you know what? Some smart ass eventually is gonna text me. Hey Frank, do you remember when Sid slid? No, I don't remember that. Thanks for asking. Hey Frank, remember Sid? Hey, remember that? Remember Sid? Hey Frank. So that's coming. Okay, just so you know.
No doubt they'll show that highlight.
Oh,
tonight.
sure.
Definitely on the Braves broadcast.
Yeah, and so, but how about this? You two losers who follow the Braves, JJ really follows them. Hays fakes it. You don't have to face Jared Jones or Skeens.
Yeah, we got
That's
really
a bunch of
lucky.
Crap. So, listen, wouldn't have mattered because we'd have been up 9-0 going to the ninth with 2 outs and lost 11-9. But still,
you guys don't have to face Max Fried.
Yeah. Some lefty tonight I've never heard of.
Well, I think they're doing a bullpen game.
Oh,
that's
dumb.
Kerr is starting, and he's probably going to go an inning or so. But you will see Chris Sale this weekend, who is like the best pitcher in baseball right now.
I hope you're scared.
I'm shaking.
I hope you should be shaking because we remain last in runs scored in Major League Baseball in the last month. Just in case you wanted to know.
Well, that's good because the Braves lead the league in shutouts.
Good. So there you go.
Scotty Scheffler is surging at the Charles Schwab Challenge. He shot a 65 today and is 3 under heading into the weekend.
And speaking of that, did you see the latest video? The guy never got dragged. He never got dragged. Unless he got dragged before it came. I don't think so. I think he just lied. The guy lied. You can't lie.
Yeah.
You can't just come out and say, I got dragged, and if I didn't. So, but yeah, good for Scotty. I hope he wins the tournament. I hope he wins them all. I'm rooting for him next week, too, when we get to another major.
The Walk-Off Charities auction is going on. Frank, tell us about some of the items.
Well, I'm going to, just so you know this, I'm going to lead next hour with a thought about the Walk-Off Charity auction.
Okay.
I just want you, so I'm preparing you, okay? But right now we got great items on there. There's so many good ones. There's Trevor Lawrence stuff. There's Josh Allen stuff. There's Jaguar stuff. There's college stuff. There's tickets to Florida, Georgia. I mean, good ones. Club seats. There's tickets to Jaguars. There's tickets to Jaguars in London. You can't, and there's typical memorabilia with autographs. It's one of the best auctions I've ever seen. It really is good. Go to walkoffcharities.com. It'll direct you to the auction. There's all kind of fun stuff going on, so I hope you'll check it out. I really do.
Just a couple of messages before we get to the fun pop culture music elements of headlines. Please be safe this Memorial Day weekend. Take an Uber. And also today was the last day of school for many. Thank you, teachers. Enjoy the summer. You have more than earned it.
Ditto on both of those things. And to the latter, you are so right. So right. It sounds like a cliche, but we damn sure should pay our teachers more. And we should respect them more, even when we do respect them. So thank you, teachers, and I hope you have a great summer.
Absolutely. All right. On this date in 1989, this happened.
It's perfectly obvious where the pages are. He's given them to Marcus Brody.
Marcus? You didn't drag poor Marcus along, did you? He's not up to the challenge.
He sticks out like a sore thumb. We'll find him.
The hell you will. He's got a 2-day head start on you, which is more than he needs. Brody's got friends in every town and village from here to the Sudan. He speaks a dozen languages, knows every local custom. He'll blend in, disappear. You'll never see him again. With any luck, he's got the grail already.
Does anyone here speak English? Or even ancient Greek? Water, no, thank you, sir. Fish make love in it. I'm going to say thank you so much. No, I don't thank you. No, I really don't want to. Thank you very much.
Good choice, JJ. Love that clip. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was released in theaters
I'll be darned.
on this date in 1989, 35 years ago.
How about that?
Isn't that unbelievable?
Wow. Man, time flies.
The Steven Spielberg film focused on the quest for the Holy Grail and features Sean Connery as Indiana Jones' dad. The third movie in the saga, Last Crusade, made $474 million at the box office.
Unbelievable. And really one of the most unbelievable
trilogies
trilogy of all time. It really was amazing. Really
I never saw 4 or 5. I mean, Last Crusade for me was...
And with all due respect...
The Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade,
And with all due respect to Star Wars, because it had so many other stars, this launched Harrison Ford. This launched Harrison Ford.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine anybody else in that character.
This launched him to greatness, and he's been in so many movies, and Star Wars among them, but this launched the greatness of Harrison Ford.
No doubt about it. All right, we will get out on a music note as always. Happy early birthday to Stevie Nicks, who will celebrate her special day this Sunday when she turns 76. Between her work with Fleetwood Mac and her solo career, Nicks has sold over 65 million albums. She's the only woman inducted twice into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She attended San Diego State University. Kind of a fun fact for you. I didn't know that. This song, Landslide, is considered one of the most beautiful songs in rock history.
As you know, my favorite all-time song ever written by anybody. It needs no more words. Great way to end Hays Headlines. Back in a moment. Stay with us.
Child within my heart rise above. Can I sail through the changing ocean?
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
For Military Appreciation Month, the folks at Nimnik Buick GMC pause to honor and express their deepest gratitude to the brave service members and their families who sacrifice so much for our country. I'm Frank Frangie, and your unwavering dedication and sacrifice inspire us every day. And as a token of the appreciation of the folks at Nimnik, they're extending a special offer, $1,000 total cash allowance to all military personnel and their families on select new vehicles. A small gesture compared to the immense gratitude we hold for your service. So thanks for everything you do. And remember, at Nimnick Buick GMC, it's time for Bravo Rama. Find your next used vehicle at Car Bravo, a better way to shop certified used vehicles online with transparent pricing. That's one of the many good things you get from our friends at Nimnick Buick GMC. It's Military Appreciation Month, and the folks at Nimnick say thank you. That's Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. We are professional grade GMC.
Duval till we die, all the damn time.
All I want to hear is Duval!
1010XL.
The saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, that is actually true if your neighbor installed artificial turf. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned local company that will take your backyard dreams and turn them into a reality. Caleb can design anything from putting greens to pet runs, and if you have a pool, you'll definitely love maintenance-free turf around it. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today. Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. So how do you decide? With so many messages on air, I know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. When you've been injured in an accident, you need help from someone you know, someone you can trust. Harrell & Harrell, a name you know, a name you trust. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. And without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
I'm RJ Saunders with your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. For 1010XL, Jacksonville baseball played 2 full games of ASUN Championship Pool B play on last night, falling short to Central Arkansas by a final score of 10-7 in the 2:30 p.m. matchup. That loss forced the Dolphins to play an elimination game with Lipscomb in the second battle of the day, where JU emerged victorious. Jacksonville will now welcome a rematch with Central Arkansas in the Pool B bracket final. First pitch is scheduled for 7:05 p.m. The number 15 Florida State softball team fell to number 2 Oklahoma by a final of 11-3 on Thursday night at Love's Field in Norman, Oklahoma, in the first game of the Super Regional. The two teams will play again tonight at 8 p.m. You can catch all the action on ESPN2. Currently 90 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time for all things Jaguars and NFL with Pete Briscoe. The Briscoe Report, presented by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Showtime.
On The Frangie Show.
Pete Prisco joins us now. As always, brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Man, they're the best. Vintage cards, terrific autographed items for a collector. It is the place to go. Head to Showtime at the corner of Phillips and Shad. You can also find Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Pete, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys?
Everything. It's a slow time a little bit, but it gives us a chance to – I'm going to talk quarterbacks for a second, ones we don't talk about. Dak Prescott, what's going to happen with him? I get this feeling – I said this yesterday on the program. Pete, I get the impression or the feeling that despite how good his numbers were last year and the fact that he's a very good player, only, 31 I think he is, I almost think the Cowboys and he might be better off moving on because he doesn't get them very deep. Am I overthinking that? What do you think about that?
Well, there's certainly something at play here since they haven't locked him up to a long-term deal yet. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, the guy had a great season. He led the NFL in touchdown passes. People don't, they don't really understand that that's how good he played last year. But it all goes back to the postseason. And in the postseason, he hasn't been able to get it done. And until you get it done in the postseason, that's always going to hang over your head. But, to me, it's one of those situations where what are the Cowboys going to do if they get rid of him? Where do you go? Do you force, hoping you get a guy like Bo Nix? I mean, in the next year's draft? I mean, then they'd probably be drafted a lot later than the Broncos. So I just think you got to be real careful with letting a guy like that go out the door. But I get it, what you're saying, because, the heat is on him. The heat is on Mike McCarthy, and the Cowboys fans are getting restless. So I get it. But I do think – and by the way, did you hear this week? He said he doesn't play for the money. Okay, Dak, then take a team-friendly deal and go play football.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Pete, with pretty much everything now done, how do you assess the Jaguars' offseason, everything from hiring Ryan Nielsen to be defensive coordinator to adding the veterans that they have in the draft class?
I saw somewhere where somebody wrote that they didn't get that much better this offseason. I don't believe that. I think they addressed key areas of concern, major areas of concern. Getting Mitch Morse addresses the biggest concern, at least in my mind. I think getting the big defensive lineman to go with Nielsen. You get a veteran who come in. He's a great dude. He's going to rub off on those guys in a good way. I think that was important. So I don't, and then you draft the young wide receiver who's going to be around here for a long time, who has, clearly looks like he's going to be. And I love this tape, but even watching his video work, in the OTAs, and I know it's only OTAs, but man, he looks like everything the part that I thought he would be. So I think they're better now. The quarterback's got to go out there and play. The offensive line has to hold up. But if they do, I think they're going to score a lot of points, and I think they'll be better on defense.
How good will Trevor Lawrence, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't get hurt, he was hurt all year last year, but if he doesn't have a year where he has that many injuries, learns to protect himself a little better, the line plays a little better, get the ball out of your hands a little quicker, and that's on him, and he would tell you that. Pete, where is he headed? I mean, is he headed for greatness? Is he headed for top 10 but not beyond? What do you think?
Well, I don't think he's going to be Mahomes, but could he be Justin Herbert? Sure, he could. And look, and Justin Herbert takes heat, and they've had issues with the Chargers just like they have in Jacksonville, and it's probably not necessarily all about putting it on the quarterback. But I think that's where you're talking about. Herbert, Lawrence, they're in that same category, and can he be a top, 6, 5, 6, 7 quarterback in the league? Absolutely, I think he can be, and I think he will be. By the way, I'm a big believer in Trevor Lawrence as a player. I think he's got all the tools. And again, you mentioned it. He was hurt all year. He was sped up all year. He was hit all year. His receivers got hurt, and then you look at it and you go, they were 9-8 right there for a playoff berth. So I do think he bounces back in a big way. And look, I thought 36, 37 touchdown passes a year ago, that would have led the league. He needs to get to 32 or 33 this year. I think that would be a great number.
What are your expectations for Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen this year?
It's interesting because I think Allen's going to continue to be a really good player, and particularly in the way they're going to play him now. I think it's tailor-made for him. But I think Walker's going to take a step forward too. Again, it goes back to getting a good coach in there in Nielsen who understands defensive line play and what it takes. I mean, and I go back and do film review of teams and stuff and go back and look at it. It's no different what I thought it was when you watch the games and when I watched the tape last year. he's got to develop some moves. Everything is smack dab into the middle of the offensive tackle. And that's where a guy like Nielsen can come in and teach him the little tricks of the trade. And I do think he's going to be better with his hand on the ground. I just think it's a good defense for him, and I think he's going to take a step forward. He's going to look, he had good sack numbers last year, but he got a lot of those on the loops and the stunts and everything else. I think he's going to look more like a pass rusher this year.
Pete, some things around the league. Roger Goodell talked about the 18 games, kind of hinted at it on Pat McAfee's show. Then he kind of walked it back a bit. We all know we're headed to 18-2. I don't think there's any debate about that. And you said you think it's 2 years away. Is there any chance it's sooner? Is there any chance they play this year and then they do it next year?
Well, they'd have to, they got to get agreement by the union, and
right.
that doesn't necessarily always come easily, although it's a new leadership there. But look, would it shock me? No. I mean, these guys implement stuff on the fly all the time. You saw what they're doing with the measuring. I mean, the chains might be obsolete if they can implement what they wanted to in the preseason and carry it over to the regular season. You're going to have the electronic, measuring of first downs, which, by the way, why haven't you had that in the first place? So, no, it wouldn't shock me, Frank, and it's going. It's coming. I mean, they can talk all they want about, well, the guys are beat up and the bodies are – well, you could find a way around that. Plus, you give those guys more money, you give the pop more money, and everybody's going to say, okay, we'll do it for another game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What do you think of Lamar Jackson playing at a lighter weight? At OTAs, he says he's around 205.
Yeah, the weird thing about that is he said he wanted to be quicker. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
If you're playing him, I mean, and he's always been a little thick. I mean, but again, sometimes when you run the way he runs, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But, again, he's been one of those guys, from what I understand, he eats a lot of junk. He's been one of those guys that eats a lot of candy and stuff like that. And so maybe he changed the way he eats, and that'll help him. It'll help your body. It'll help your longevity. So I get it from that standpoint. But I can't imagine it making him that much quicker because he's already the quickest guy in the league with the ball in his hand.
You know what's different, though, Pete? Quarterback, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, quarterback couldn't play at 205. You couldn't do it. You were too much of a statue. Now you're moving more, and your quarterbacks who run more tend to know how to get down better because they're running more. But, I mean, can you imagine 15 years ago a quarterback playing at 205 in the NFL? It would be impossible, right?
Well, what about playing at 5'9", 5'10", and 5'11"? And
that's
yet
right.
you have a bunch of them that have played recently. So it's definitely, the dynamic of the position has changed in large part because the ball gets out, the protection of the quarterback with the rules, you can't hit him basically anymore, and the fact that everybody spreads everybody out and it's hard to get to them. So I think the changing of the game, coupled with the rules to protect the quarterback, have made it easier for smaller guys to play in this league.
What do you think about Brenton Strange and Tank Bigsby as they go into year two here after, rookie seasons that either they weren't asked to do much or they struggled when they were asked to do something?
Well, the way they're talking about Bigsby around there, it sounds like he's going to be the next coming of Adrian Peterson. My gosh. But, again, I liked him. I thought he was a little apprehensive last year, and that could be just getting the feel of the NFL game and the quickness of the NFL game. He's a tough kid. I think he'll be better. I don't think he's ever going to be taking, half the snaps from ETN, but it's nice to have a guy, if he is, what they think he can be, able to come in there and spell him. And Strange, that was the weirdest thing to me, was watching him go from mauling blocker in the preseason to not very good blocker in the regular season. And I think that was a disappointment. I think they'd probably tell you that. And I didn't see a lot of suddenness. I didn't see a lot of suddenness on his tape to begin with, coming out of college, so I was wondering about it, and I didn't see it last year. If you asked me which one of those two would be the better player this year, I'd probably lean to the running back Bigsby.
I'll say that. Here's what I think would happen with Bigsby, Pete. Agree or disagree. I think he fumbled in the preseason 2 or 3 times, and I think that got in his head, and ball security became first for him, and he didn't run free and easy. Did you feel – that's what I think. Did that feel that way to you at all?
Yeah, a little bit, because and sometimes guys like him look for the home run instead of just take – you could take the 5 or 6 yard run. That's good. That's a good play instead of looking for the 20-yard play. And sometimes when you look for the 20-yard play, it turns into a 2-yard gain or a loss. And so I think the fumbling, that in the back of your head. I think all of that kind of led to a disappointing season for him. He's got tools. He was a good runner at Auburn. I think he can be a good runner. But this is a big year for both those guys. And they were, when you look at their roster, they drafted those guys a little bit of luxury picks. And so luxury picks have to turn into players in year two. And so I think from that standpoint, it's important for them.
Pete, two things before we let you go. First of all, I know you're sad like we are at the loss of David Lamb. You've been here a long time. You knew David well. We worked hard with David. We lost David Lamb today too soon, Pete. I know you've got a thought or two about that.
David Lamb was one of the originals. You know what I mean? Eddie, you knew when you walked into the room, David Lamb was in the room. Yep. And he was loud. He was boisterous. He was opinionated. He's an old newspaper guy who, like us and you, and we morphed into other things, radio and me, TV, and everything else. And I think he was kind of a pioneer in some ways from that standpoint. But, David, that's terrible that we lost him. And I have many, many, many conversations with David Lamb over the years. And you hate to see guys go, Frank, particularly when you view them as our contemporaries, and that means we're getting old and we're getting up in the years. But my condolences to the family. I've had many a good time with Alex back in the day. Condolences to Alex and the rest of the Lamb family.
Yeah, I sent a note to Alex today. I agree with you. Final thing. All right, are we having Florida Panther watch parties? Are you and Casey having the friends over? Was it popcorn, pizza, pretzels? What do you? I mean, the Panthers, Pete. Your Panthers, for God's sake.
Let me tell you something, and you'll love this. They just moved their practice facility downtown. It's a beautiful, brand-new practice facility. They built 2 rinks. They got a big team store in there, and you can go in there and skate. And me and Casey went in there and rented skates and skated last week.
How about that?
And it was just like old times for me. She had to have a little help with the little thing, but she got the hang of it. And then we went in the team store and got some new stuff and put it out for the game. And we were, are you kidding me? We go to New York and beat the Rangers? Come on, Frank.
Hayes, they're going to have the stuff on. They're going to have jerseys. They're going to have or sweat. They call it sweaters in hockey, don't they? They'll have it all on.
I got real sweater. I got one of the guys, it was signed by Lomberg for her. So that's a special thing. And, we got the whole deal. Are you kidding me? I got a stick. I got
got a
by the way,
stick.
did you know? I got a little mini stick. Do you know how much a real hockey stick costs nowadays, Frank? And I know you know baseball, so you know what a baseball bat. Like if you go buy an aluminum baseball bat, a metal baseball bat, whatever they make them out of now.
Yeah.
I looked one day just because I was going to buy one to beat somebody with. It was like $350.
They're all of that. The good ones are all of that or more, actually.
And the hockey sticks.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I'll be
They're
damned.
$300.
And they're wooden, for crying out. Aren't they wooden?
No, they're not. They're not. They're like a hybrid kind of material now. They're
Shows what
different.
I
You know
know.
the ones. The ones we used to play with when we were kids, they were like Sherwood.
Yeah,
and they were wood.
yeah.
Yeah, not anymore. No, they're like a different kind of material. And they're expensive as hell. But I love it. I can't wait for tonight, Frank. Are you kidding me? I'll be flicked back to the basketball because I love watching Luka play. It's amazing to watch that guy play basketball, and so I'll flick back and forth. But I'm all in on the
Panther Madness. Pete Frisco checking in from CBS Sports. Thank you, Pete.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, Pete's Report, as always, is brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Head to Showtime today at the corner of Phillips and Chatham. Take a break. When we come back, I got a problem.
Well,
I
try to have a solution.
I got a problem. I'm not happy.
You got a lot of problems.
If you want to, it's a very good point. It's hard to argue. But my latest problem when we come back on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
We got a great show for you today.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
A big show.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
A king-size show.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
All right, get those boats ready. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin is coming soon to St. Augustine. It's June 8th. Just go to oldschoolkingfish.com. You can find out more. The grand prize is a Yellowfin bay boat. And with limited boundaries, no bait buying, and no checkout, it is seriously old school.
That's why it's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Here's how you do it. You go online, you sign up, and you become part of what is going to a terrific event. It's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Go to oldschoolkingfish.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. The NBA playoffs are heating up, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays, and new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sportsbook. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph is such a beautiful ride. But, Greg, you're telling me that there's a price point that's going to invite even more potential buyers.
There is. There's 2 new models, both of them under $6,000, one of them under $5,000. Great motorcycle, same Triumph quality and design. You got to come see it.
And it still's that big bike underneath you.
It is. It's a good-looking bike and all Triumph.
You can log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, or visit the showroom on Atlantic near Regency.
Every weekend is a Stone Cold Sports Weekend. Hey, Dan Hicken here. Watch for The Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll help you put together your sports weekend. Weekend with Dan brought to you by Stone Core. We do the outdoors better.
All right, guys, be a true grill master with the Sausage Dudes sausage and upgrade that cookout. The Sausage Dudes are guys from Jacksonville who use their family recipes to make better sausage with the best cuts of pork, carefully sourced spices, and natural casings. And the Sausage Dudes are mission-minded, supporting the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Try all 4 flavors because your cookout deserves better. Now available at all Publix stores in the frozen meat section. Head to Publix today and get your hands on the Sausage Dudes sausage.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being selfless. So often when we do things for others, we can want people to see what we're doing and to acknowledge it. And yes, it's good to know that people appreciate us, but true service doesn't look for recognition. You see, when we go out and do selfless acts, God tells us that we may not get an earthly reward, but we're always going to get a heavenly reward.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon for QC Kinetics. This is the absolute worst time of the year to be dealing with joint pain. You can't do all the outdoor stuff you love to do, hiking, jogging, biking, playing on the beach. Don't go through summer missing out on life. Call QC Kinetics now and find out how they can use biologics from your own body to give new life to your achy joints. You gotta call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 904-274-5522. Serving the Jacksonville area with locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. Again, this is the future of medicine. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients around the country are living their best life this year because they made the call. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Revolutionary treatments for joint pain are here. Again, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. Call QC Kinetics now, 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
This is a good song.
NXS.
My wife one time told me she went to an Inks concert.
It's awesome. That's such a great story.
100% true story. We went to see Inks. I said, was Inks good? She said Inks was good.
Yeah.
I love us. I've always loved Inks. They're very good.
That is awesome.
100%, I'm not making that up. 100% true story. That's my second favorite.
Very easy mistake to make.
My second favorite Suzanne story. I love my wife. I got the greatest wife ever. Been married 34 years. My favorite one, of course, is when we were at a Steelers Jets game, and it was 3rd and 4. It's made about 4 yards. Didn't know it was the first down or not. My wife goes, "Where's the yellow line?" That's my favorite. I said it's a long story.
Yeah,
it's a long story.
I like one of my favorite Suzanne stories is when you guys saw the baseball game, and I think was it the Padres that
the manager Glenn Green,
the manager.
JJ, you know the story?
No.
So the Glenn Green was the manager of the Padres. What, 5 years ago, something like that? So something like that.
That seems about right.
Yeah, and we're staying at the Fairmont. Suzanne and I go up to watch baseball, and the Pirates are playing well. We stayed at the Fairmont because the Jags on the road generally stayed there. It's where a lot of visiting teams stay, visiting football teams, and we later found out baseball teams. So we're staying at the Fairmont, JJ, and the Pirates are wearing them out. The Pirates won like all 4 games, I think. So it's a Saturday night game. So it was like a 4:00 game. So Pirates beat them like 10-2, and we're excited. And we went and had a bunch of drinks afterwards, and we go back to the hotel. And the Fairmont, we go to the Fairmont, and there we are, and we're happy and got our Pirates gear on because we're big fans. We get in the elevator, and there's one guy in there. He's got a golf. It's the middle of summer. He's got a golf shirt and a pair of shorts on. He's getting ready to go out. We're coming in, and nice guy, nice smile, and Suzanne's all happy, and he goes, "You guys have fun?" And Suzanne goes, "Yep, because we beat their ass." It was Glenn Green, the Padres manager.
Love that.
It was hilarious. We went upstairs. He got out. We got out. And I said, "Do you know who that was?" She goes, "I have no idea." That was the Padres
beat
manager.
Their ass.
We beat their ass. That was
their manager was a loser today.
See, was that right? Oh, we beat their ass. So I got a problem.
Let's solve it.
All right. So we are having the Walk-Off Charities Golf Tournament coming up a week from Monday. All our shows are going to be out there. Really excited about that. And one of the things we're doing is we're auctioning off golf with all of us. That's a lot of us. I mean, Hicken and Prosser and Ballou and Joe Cowart, me, okay? So I checked the numbers. You got to go to the numbers, okay? You ready for the numbers? Hays Carlyon, who else from the bowl school?
I am ready.
Joe Cowart leads. He's got $1,100 in bids.
Not a surprise.
Of course not. Who wouldn't want to play golf with Joe Cowart?
Right.
I would bid on Joe Cowart.
Right.
I would take my bids and put them on Joe Cowart. I mean, everyone in the world wants to. Who don't want to play with Joe Cowart? Mia's done very well. She got 1,000.
Okay.
Rick Ballou's got a bunch of bids. He's up to 900.
Wow.
Dan Hickens up to 800. 2 people with no bids.
No bids?
Jeff Prosser, and me. How have I got no bids? It's my auction. I win this thing every year. I dominate these guys. No, not even the $500 pity bid. I can't get the pity bid. I got to call my buddies. Somebody do a pity bid.
Well, Prost should bid on you, and you should bid
yes,
on Prost.
I can't even get – Hayes, I can't get the pity bid. I've won this thing every year. Well, that's just your charity. That's why you win every year. Well, whatever. I have no bids. So go to Walk-Off Charities. It's $500. That's the starting bid. You come to Jack's Golf. Of course, it's in great shape. Hell, I'll probably buy you lunch, whatever. I'll give you a sleeve of golf balls if I got to. I mean, how do I have no bids? I'm not making this up. Prosser and I got no bids. I mean, of course Cowart clears it. I bid on Cowart. That's how good his is. But, I mean, I got nothing. This is very bothersome.
Yeah.
How can this happen in America that I started the damn charity 7 years ago. I got no bids.
Well, I'll tell you my strategy, and maybe it'll make you feel a little bit better.
Okay.
Because you guys have a lot of fine memorabilia items on this. So I'm not a golfer. I'm not going to bid on to play golf.
Right.
But I do like, the bats you have and the Jaguars uniforms and footballs and helmets. And Mike Tyson's got a boxing glove that's autographed on it. So here's my strategy.
Okay.
Because in past years, I've always come away with something.
Right.
But
the big ones escaped you?
Yeah, I tend to bid early, and then I get outbid. And so this year, I'm holding back a little.
Yeah.
So maybe – now there is only a week, so I might jump in now.
Right. Yeah,
but
we're a week and a few days out.
So maybe there's some of your admirers are
that what it is?
Waiting,
they're all lining up to bid big on Frank, are they?
So they don't get outbid.
I got no bids.
Yeah.
Not even the pity bid. So, I mean, for crying out loud, people, go to walkoffcharities.com. We'll go play golf at Jack's
I'll just
Golf.
go bid $3 right now.
Exactly right. It's unbelievable. So, again, there's all kind of great items, but there's no – go to walkoffcharities.com and bid on me, okay? I mean, I've got zero. Did I tell you it was zero? Like, no bids. And perhaps, by the way, Prosper's best golfer at the station. He's got no bids. So, anyway, 1,100 already on Joe. He's got about 84 bids. 1,000 – because he's freaking Joe. I mean, right now, I would leave the show right now and go have a drink with Joe and let you finish the show.
Jack Nicholson bid on to play golf with Joe.
Of course he did. So Joe's at 1,100. Mia is at 1,000. And we're all good golf courses. I don't have the list. I'll pull up the list. It's all
like
the best
Ponte
courses.
Vedra
It's the best courses in town. It really is. Baloo's got 900. Hickens got 800. Prosper and I don't have a bid yet. So for crying out loud, do a pity bid. I don't care about. I could care less about Jeff. Do a pity bid for me, okay? Okay, I mean, walkoffcharities.com, but there really are some great items. I'm joking aside. By the way, I'm not joking about that.
Right.
But beyond that.
You guys have, like, pictures of Nicholas and
it's unbelievable.
And Palmer, and, I mean, it's really great golf stuff.
4 clubbies for Florida, Georgia.
Well, that's the other thing, too.
Yeah.
I mean, some really good fan experiences, Jaguar games, and, Florida, Georgia.
Let me read off this list for you.
There's like 70-something items. I mean, it's like 3 pages. It's comprehensive.
Let me read some for you. An 18-seat suite for the Luke Bryan concert, a suite for 18 people at ViStar, 4 club seats and parking for the Jags home opener, a VIP jumbo shrimp experience for 15 people, which is a lot of fun, 4 club seats for Florida, Georgia. I'd say that's pretty good. A Michael Jordan signed basketball. Is he good?
He's pretty good.
Trevor Lawrence signed jersey, Josh Allen signed jersey, the good Josh Allen. And like I said, there's 74 items. Literally 74 items. It's a really good auction, and we're very proud of it. We've put together a very good auction.
Daniel Murphy has a bat.
Daniel Murphy bat. There's really good stuff on there. There really is. So go check it out. Walkoffcharities.com. It's actually it'll link you to the auction site. So it's really good. Did I point out that I've got no bids? If I pointed that out yet?
You did.
Okay. I mean, unbelievable. I looked at that. I thought that someone told me that. I thought they were kidding. Surely you got to be kidding. It's not possible that I've got no bids. I mean, so I get it. You're joking with it. I'll joke back. Frank's got no bids. Then I looked at it. I got no bids. Unbelievable. I need a pity bid or some kind of a bid. Quick thought. We know who the Blue Bloods are. The Blue Bloods. We can argue about if Florida's won because they came along late. You can argue, but you know who the big time programs are. You know it's Texas and Oklahoma. If not, it's great. You know it's Michigan, Ohio State. You know it's Alabama, Georgia, FSU, blah, blah, blah. In-between bloods. Who are the in-between? Is Auburn an in-between blood?
Yes.
I think Auburn's an in-between blood. Virginia Tech? Are they not even there? They're not even an in-between blood.
Be an in-between
blood. Yeah, okay. So
but
I hear Iowa's an in-between blood.
Yes.
Auburn, Iowa. I agree with you. Vatech might not.
I think Oregon on the other side of Virginia Tech might be like I can't
almost
call them a blue blood yet,
but they're at the top of the
won it.
They're at the top of the in-between
Correct.
blood.
They're the most likely to get promoted to the next level. But I'd say Oregon is an in-between blood right now until they actually win it all.
Yeah. My buddy Chris Coughlin just said, "Look, I'll give you $100. Okay, I'm not going to bid on you. You're not worth the bid, but I'll give you $100." So that's phenomenal. Thank you, Chris, for that. All right, Oregon, Iowa, Auburn.
Would you say Tennessee is an in-between?
Tennessee,
to me, they're a blue blood.
Yeah, I think they're a blue blood. I think it's a blue blood, but they would be up for debate here.
Yeah,
they would be. I think they're a blue blood.
I'd still say Nebraska is, despite
Nebraska's a blue blood. Despite how bad they've been, they're a blue blood. But Tennessee's the closest to the bottom of the blue bloods, top of the in-between bloods, I think.
Yeah.
Are there any blue bloods other than FSU and Clemson in the ACC? Is Miami a blue blood?
Yes. If Florida State and Florida are blue blood, how is Miami not?
No, what do you think about that?
I think
I don't know that I agree with him. I don't know if I'm going to agree with him. Either that or because I'm.
So Tennessee is a blue blood in college football. Miami's not.
Yeah. Well, actually,
come on, take the SEC glasses off.
If I had a bid, I might take the glasses off. Right now, I might not. Just so you're clear about that. Okay. I'm that's salty right now.
That's an outrageous take.
Okay.
They for 40 years they were really good.
Blue blood. You give blue blood
for Miami?
You coming with them on that?
Yeah, because they've won so many national titles. So even though it was very brief and they don't go back, like I think blue blood, I think like you were good in like the 1960s and
yeah.
things like
well,
that.
And again,
obviously,
I'm using blue blood.
Well, then I guess Florida and Florida State are out.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I think about that. If
I'm not arguing. I
am arguing with him. I'll argue with him all day long.
Well, people forget Florida
has
is the
just
last.
as many national titles as Florida and Florida State combined.
Here's what I'll tell you about Miami.
I think they have one more. Florida State and Florida.
They do. I'm not totally convinced Miami's a blue, but I'm just not.
Yeah.
But the point JJ's making is, if they're not, then Florida's probably not either. You know, I mean, if you can't say, I hear you. You can't say Florida's a blue.
Tennessee. I mean, like, what?
Yeah, but Tennessee, man, in the 40s, 50s,
they were better.
They were better. I mean,
so was Army.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're right.
So was Navy.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously,
I like your fight for the Canes. I like the Friday afternoon battle right there.
Minnesota
he's got a little scrap in it.
3 straight national titles at one point, and they're not a blue blood. So I get it, but
I'll give you Miami. So I like salty JJ. I enjoyed that moment.
Yeah,
that little moment for you. Right there.
And that's the other thing, though. Like, maybe none of these are, because blue bloods to me should be a very select club.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Miami in there, but if we're gonna put the schools you guys were naming, then Miami belongs.
So
I think it's like you, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Notre Dame. You know, like the historical Alabama, been around for 100 years.
Here's the fun.
USC is a blue blood.
The funny thing about our schools, I'll lump them all in there together. They never impacted anything, and then all of a sudden, all three were impacting everything.
Right.
And then after a while, they stopped impacting anything. Right. I mean, so Florida and Miami, maybe not FSU as much, but Florida and Miami went from irrelevant to really good. I agree with you, JJ. Miami better. They have more titles than Florida, but they went from irrelevant to stupid good to irrelevant. Boom, boom, boom.
Here, they're irrelevant on the field record-wise, but Florida and Miami and Florida State will never be irrelevant.
Correct. I would say bigger.
They're still talked about ad nauseum.
Bigger brands than Auburn.
Yes.
I would say bigger brand. Tennessee, I agree with Hays. Tennessee's brand is pretty big. I think that Tennessee almost has a bigger brand than their team.
Yeah.
In some ways.
They pack the house, 1,000 plus.
What's Washington?
100,000.
In between blood.
Washington's an in between blood. I agree with that. So we got Auburn, Iowa, Oregon, Washington on that list.
I think Penn State's a blue blood.
They're clear blue blood.
Yeah.
They're more blue blood than Florida.
Yeah.
Probably they're bluer blood. I would think that. To your guys' point, if we're really just going true blue bloods from years gone by, then it's Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, Oklahoma, USC, Notre Dame,
Nebraska.
That might be the list.
Did you say Alabama?
Alabama. I didn't, but of course Alabama. Georgia probably on that list. Although Georgia has some bad years.
Think so.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe
Yeah.
Georgia's on the same list that Florida and the rest of them are. So interesting stuff. So, but it's interesting to see where the Auburns, Iowas, Oregons, Washingtons, whoever else you have on that, whatever you call that list, where they
I tell you,
who's next?
Another one that's a big in between blood is Texas A&M.
I agree with that. Texas A&M is an in between blood, close at times, and then close to falling out at times. So Auburn, Iowa, Oregon, Washington, Texas A&M. That's a great.
So
call.
who would you say in 10 years that's not on that list of blue bloods would be?
Who's coming?
Yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oregon's coming. I think they're the one that probably is as much as they're right on the cusp. They're right on the cusp of the next great.
And now they're in the Big Ten. They have a ton of money.
Yeah, that's right. But I'll still say
they're a national brand now.
Yeah. That's they're. I still feel like and I'll put Miami and Florida both in this. And look, I've said, and by the way, I've said on the air before you were producing our show that I don't think Miami will ever be back. Okay,
Not like they were.
Yeah, I don't. But again, the counterpoint to that is, okay, Florida guy, it's been a while it's been 15 years since Florida's been relevant too now. It's not
I see people keep saying that. Florida did play a game 3 years ago where if they beat Alabama in the SEC title game, and they didn't, I understand that. But if they win that game, and it's not like they got crushed, it was a very competitive game, they go to the playoff.
Yeah, and you know what?
So,
I think either school could have like a year or so, maybe a year or two of greatness.
Yeah, my take on the 20 team was really good. I agree with you, but it almost felt like a one-off.
Well, it was.
Yeah, it was.
But to me, if you've had at least a one-off, and they had the year with Muschamp where they were right, they had a chance to play for the national title going into the final week of the year. So to me, you just can't say Florida's been irrelevant for 15 years.
Yeah.
They have had seasons.
Went to a couple SEC title games.
And then some of those were like poor, like the McElwain SEC East champion teams were not title contenders.
I agree with that.
They just were the best team in a really bad division, and they got destroyed by Alabama. But, I mean, I do think Florida's had the Muschamp team in, what would that have been, 11?
Right.
That got to the Sugar Bowl, and the Mullen team in the COVID year. Those were good, really good teams. And, but anyway, I mean, obviously Florida's underachieved.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see which one of these in-between bloods, as we called them, that emerge. It'll be interesting to see. We'll take a break. 1 segment to go. We'll wrap the week. That's after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
NASCAR will be racing its longest event of the season on Sunday night, the Coca-Cola 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 400 laps around the mile-and-a-half track. Kyle Larson is the betting favorite, plus 450 to take the checkered flag. Larson is also competing in the Indianapolis 500 earlier Sunday, starting from 5th position, trying to complete the double and run all 1,100 laps. Denny Hamlin, second betting favorite to capture the Coca-Cola 600. He is at plus 600. Tyler Reddick, plus 800. William Byron and Ryan Blaney, both at plus 1,000. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Honey!
Septic alert, septic alert. Time for a spring septic clean? Contact Duck Duck Rooter today. Just $5.25 to keep your septic alive. For just $525, Duck Duck Rooter will pump out your septic tank, clean your outlet filter, plus send a plumber to your home to provide drain cleaning to your main sewer line. Call now to book 904-862-6769. DuckDuckRooter.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. Finding that perfect gift for the sports fan in your life can sometimes be a tad stressful. At Showtime, we can assist you in landing a great gift. Or, if you prefer an easier option, we have our Showtime gift cards, good for any amount. It's Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Every day is a Big Chief Tire Day at 1010XL. Lauren Brooks here from Helmets and Heels. Our friends at Big Chief Tire are all about ensuring your safety and peace of mind on the road. Right now, they're offering $50 off a new set of tires so you can finally take care of that tire replacement you have been putting off. Plus, enjoy free tire repairs and replacements for up to 3 years with their protection plan. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment at any one of their 5 locations. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold and Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold and Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
It's the coolest week to save during the summer fan sale at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off all fans at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Showroom near the Avenues.
1010XL gives you non-stop sports talk all week.
You got a point.
And we take you into the weekend.
What's this about?
Join Compton and Company noon to 2 Saturdays for more conversation about the teams you care about most.
Oh!
On 1010XL.
Calling all poker enthusiasts. Poker Atlas Tour is bringing 7 action-packed poker events to Best Bet St. Augustine, June 6th to 16th, including the $600 no-limit hold'em title event with a $200,000 guarantee. Plus, don't miss Event 1, a $300 no-limit hold'em tournament featuring a $100,000 guarantee. Satellites happening now at Best Bet St. Augustine. Visit bestbetjacks.com for tournament structures and all the details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Get grilling this Memorial Day weekend with Southern Steer. How about marinated steak tips, 5 pounds or more at just $16.99 a pound? Specials listed online run this week from Wednesday to Monday.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous, don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. From now until May 28th, we're holding our big diamond sale, and now's the best time to buy a quality diamond of a carat or more. Here are a few reasons. First, there's severe upward pressure on rough diamonds, with 4 price increases already this year. Most of this has yet to hit the polished market, so they're diamonds for sale at the old prices. Next, our diamond cutters asked us to house their inventories of existing big diamonds so we could sell them here prior to them being offered to the jewelry trade in Las Vegas. This allows us the ability to sell from their vast stock at brokerage prices you have to see to believe. All of these diamonds are graded for cut, color, and clarity with independent laboratory grading reports. Now, along with this vast collection of big diamonds, we put all of our own meticulously selected loose diamonds and engagement-style rings on sale at prices from 3% to 25% off. We also take trade-ins, but remember, this sale ends May 28th at Underwood San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Where on your body is the weenus? The answer next.
When you call Southern Oak and file a claim, you'll be handled by our hand-picked vendors who will analyze any roof, storm, or water damage. It'll save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The weenus is your elbow skin and can be pinched as hard as you want, and it will never cause pain.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said Maraca, senor, but his nose said, hey, freshest scent ever. Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing. Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for What to Watch. Presented by Best Bet.
This I gotta see.
With locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. Visit bestbetjax.com.
We thank our friends from the Best Bet. They do a fantastic job. St. Augustine, right off the interstate, US 17 in Orange Park, and, of course, on Monument Road for Jacksonville. I'm going to say NBA. I don't say that very much with What to Watch. We do it every Friday, getting ready for the weekend. But I'm going to watch tonight the Mavs and the T-Wolves. I think we all agreed, Hayes, and JJ kind of leading the charge here. He was all over this, that the East Conference Finals won't be particularly compelling. But I think the West will. Mavs and T-Wolves, Game 2 is tonight.
Got to win tonight if you're Minnesota. You can't go back to Dallas down to 0-2. So we'll see. The Timberwolves are a 5.5-point favorite tonight. So we'll see. But, yeah, it should be fascinating to watch. Game 1 was awesome. So fully expecting this to be very entertaining.
Big Memorial Day weekend plans?
Just
beach?
Yeah,
the beach?
A lot of beach and soak it up. We'll have a lot of fun. And I'm having lunch with one of my childhood friends tomorrow, which will be really cool. He lives in Raleigh, so we barely see each other now. But yeah, so that'll be great. And hanging out with Gene and just enjoying it. How about you?
Dinner a couple times with the wife. Golf tomorrow. See my daughter on Sunday.
Nice.
Outside chance I might throw in more golf on Monday. That one's still to be decided, but golf tomorrow for sure. That bunch is coming up. JJ, big plans? Big weekend?
Probably the beach, but, I mean, it's all about 3 games in Pittsburgh. Let's be honest. I mean, one tonight, 2. I think it's afternoon games.
Right. Yeah.
Saturday, 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock Sunday. Yeah. Braves, Pirates, be there, be square. And I need a sweep, baby.
Yeah, and I will tell you that sweep. Not that he's coming to the Berg, to the banks of all 3 rivers. He thinks. But let me just tell you what you and I haven't lived this.
3, but I let
me just tell you what I tell my friend Taylor Dahl, who I care about deeply. problem. The Cubs, I think, they play. What do they play? 13 times now in division. It used to be 19. 13. I think it's 13.
Yeah,
now.
it's not fun anymore. I liked it before.
Right. The Cubs beat them like 11 out of 13 last year. And I talked relentless trash the 2 times, JJ, just so you know that. So
well, then Pittsburgh better not take one.
I was just going to say, you're probably going to sweep the Pirates, but it's going to be nasty to win. I'm just kind of made – it's how we're made how we're made, Hayes. You know that?
That's right.
I'm seeing Saturday tickets as low as $16.
So
yeah, I think we can all make it.
I think you're probably getting
pretty cheap price.
Probably get pretty good seats there in Pittsburgh for that. Whatever, the 17,000 or whatever the payroll is, somewhere thereabouts. So you're probably going to get in there. So it's going to be a lot of fun watching baseball. All right, next week we'll be off on Monday, and then we'll be here in regular week. I am excited. Next week, by the way, the week after next, we told you we'll be at the Walk-Off Charities golf tournament on Monday. Then the Old School Shootout, which is a fantastic fishing event in St. Augustine. My friend Lauren Dozier and Paul Dozier put it on, and they kill it with this thing. We've never gone live from there before, but you're really going to love it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We had Lauren Brooks and I had breakfast with my friend Lauren Dozier the other day, and they work really hard at it. It is really buttoned up. It has become the premier fishing tournament around here. It's the number one. It's the one, and so they do a fantastic job with it. And I've never had a chance to go down there before and do it, so we're certainly looking forward to that. That comes up 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today we'll be there. So, folks, that's our program. Don't go anywhere, though. Rick Ballew's going into the night right now. Have a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend. For Hayes and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.